So, I got hypnotized. Like, real deal, close your eyes. You are getting sleepy. Like, real deal hypnotized. And y'all, it's for real. Like, this isn't a hypnosis that you see on TV where it's like, on the count of 3, you will walk over there and slap your mama. No, not one of those. It was a hypnosis that... it was emotional. I got it all recorded. So if you're on my Patreon, you'll be able to see some of it after our magic broom party this Saturday. I'll have it up after that. Y'all, let me try to explain it. It was something, I knew it was real, but I just didn't know that I had I guess you can say, the urge to let myself go to be hypnotized, just because I'm very into myself. I'm very self-aware of what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm acting. That's exactly what I got it for, past life regression. Y'all, so let me tell you. So go through the whole process. I don't want to share too much, but go through the whole process. I'm able to literally, like, in the moment after I came back to awareness, I didn't remember it. But once I went back and watched the video, I was able to, like, listen. I don't know who was talking because it did not sound like my vernacular, because I know I'm real country. I'm like, who is that? Who is talking? But I'm like, I was just able to experience who I was in my past life. For one, I was a drunk, hard down at work. Look, coffee cup, liquor. You think it's coffee? It's liquor. I was a drunk. It was one where, like, I was buried underground, and, like, when I was watching it, I remember that I was able to, like, to feel it, because at one point I felt like I couldn't breathe because I was, like, buried under dirt. And, like, you're able to see these past lives. I don't want to share too much, but just sharing my experience, it was very clear. I was able to hear from my great grandmother. Y'all know my brother passed away, so I was able, to hear from him. And I get kind of nervous wanting to communicate with him, just because I told you I am pretending that he is still in Miami living his best life, just because it's kind of hard, to come to when you lose a sibling, So I was able to hear from him. It was one part where he mentioned Tweety Bird, and, like, he used to buy me all the Tweety Bird stuff. I was Tweety Bird down when I was little. You hear me? He used to watch Tweety Bird with me, buy me Tweety Bird outfits. Those Tweety Bird ice creams that you used to get. So I was able to hear from him and get a lot of clarity on stuff, get some news on stuff that's what's, like, to come. So I wanted to share that with y'all, but I also wanted to share the person that I had the privilege of doing this with. This video is not sponsored. I was able to get the service, but I wanted to also share it with y'all as well. Okay, so you know who you are. If you could request to join the live, I'll bring you on up. So I wanted to get on a little early to share my experience with it, and then introduce the madame who was able to just guide me through everything. So we have the honor, and let me know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, because I turned everybody's name into Geechee. We have the honor of to Neoshi, right?
Neoshi, yeah. Neoshi.
Yes, look at me. And she's a Gemini too, so wish her a happy belated birthday. Team Gemini. So I will let you introduce yourself, because I will start talking and talking and talking. I know we want to keep this quick, but one question I do have, if you could answer in your introduction, is, like, what was the moment that got you interested in just into hypnosis in general? And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so I tell this real quick story, because never in a million years would I've ever thought that I'd be doing this work, but I come to find out that I've been actually doing this work for so many lifetimes. But I talk about how my whole spiritual experience really started at the age of, like, 5 years old in the church. And let me just back up for a second, because the work that I do is not just regular hypnotherapy, it's more of a spiritual hypnotherapy. Where, of course, helping you, I say, heal your soul, break through blockages to align with your divine purpose. And a lot of that has to do with, of course, with past life regression sessions that I do, and shadow work and all those other things, and connecting with your guides, etc. So my whole spiritual journey began when I was, like, 5 in the church, growing up Baptist, Methodist, later on, but more of the holiness church when I was younger. And my cousin's father was a preacher, but he still is.
Mm.
He had a church, and we would go to that church. Of course, I would go with one of my aunts whenever I wasn't with when I wouldn't go with my mom or my parents. I would go with my aunts when they would go to church. And just that whole culture of catching the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, that was very real in the church. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That was a commonplace every night when we had church. And I just remember one day becoming super aware of like what was happening. Like these people were like seeing my aunts and all the women in the church like catching the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues. And one day I was just like how are they doing that? Like, what's happening with that they're able to do all of that? Like, what are they feeling? Like, what are they connecting to? Like, just at that age being intrigued, and I've always been a very analytical person, observing and trying to figure out things and want to know why and how something works, um, and at that moment that's what caught my attention, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to feel what they were feeling. I wanted to catch the Holy Ghost. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to be able to speak in tongues and see and experience that. And was like, why? How is that happening? And one day I was like, observing them, and I was like, well, maybe they fake it. Maybe they all fake it. Maybe that's how it starts out, right? And then once they try to pretend like they get in, and then when they start faking and they get into it, then the Holy Ghost kind of jumps on them then or something, And so I was like, okay. And I went and I was like, hey, I'm gonna try that. So one day, I go up there to the pulpit when they call you to come up or whatever, and I start acting, jumping around like I caught the Holy Ghost, and then fall to the floor. You know what I mean? And I fall to the floor. They have the person come by and place the little white cloth over your legs or whatever, and I'm just laying there, and I'm like, nah, this ain't it. Like, they ain't fake, can't be faking because this ain't working. I don't really get it. There's something's happening there clearly because these women are jerking around, and they feeling something. They speaking in tongues. That shit ain't easy to do. Something's happening. So for me, that was my awakening. Like just wanting to connect, wanting to have a spiritual connection, wanting to know what it feels like, what it is to to align with that energy. And since that age, I've been searching like what is it that I never found that in Christianity. You know what I mean? For me, some people do. My parents, they're still they're still very much Christians, but a lot of their beliefs recently have changed to the point where they stopped celebrating things like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. So that just talks and goes to the point of what I always talk about. Everybody has their own spiritual journey, right? And for me, my journey, fortunately started at that age, but it grew and so much because of the different, because of the aspirations that I had to find that source, to connect with that source, but it's like I always knew that whatever work that I do would be connected. It would be somehow spiritually connected for me. You know what I mean? Like I've always had that knowing. I don't know how. I just did. And it grew. It was a journey, going through different, studying different religions throughout high school, not high school, but college. And it just became something that like I said, I look back and I'm like, I never would have thought that this is the work I'd be doing. Now, I know a lot of the work that I do is spiritually based, but it's also based as well as with, psychology and, mental health awareness. And a lot of the work that I do, it involves looking back into the emotions that you might hold on to, like repressed or suppressed emotions that you might have dealt with in childhood. So yeah, I do a lot of past life regression that is significant to what you're experiencing in this life. But I also, a lot of the work that I do with my clients has to do with memories from, childhood and from this life and things that they've dealt with, whether it be trauma or emotional abuse or sexual abuse or whatever, physical abuse, things that they've dealt with, and sometimes not that extreme, to that extreme, but just be something that might have made them felt less than, you know what I mean, themselves. Um, a lot of that is significant to releasing those suppressed and repressed emotions that might be causing situations that they're dealing with today. But not to be long-winded, just to answer the question in terms of like how I got into this whole path was I stumbled across it after doing my own work, like doing my own healing work, doing my own from this life, like focusing on my shadow work, my issues that I had been struggling with, and healing myself and growing, following spirit, because I literally had my own coming to Jesus moment years ago, like wanting to know like what's my purpose. Like I literally had snot nose crying, like everything, like God, please just like, what am I supposed to be here doing? What I know is something. I know I'm supposed to be doing something that's greater than what I'm doing right now. I know, like I've had a whole business making buku money, like damn near multiple six figures a year, and I still wasn't happy. Like I gave it up. I was like, this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And was still searching, and like just having that whole breakdown moment of like, help me. And I remember that day after having that breakdown, just like hearing the voice saying, it's the spirit, God, guides, whoever you want to call it, saying like, don't worry, like you keep going, you're almost there, like we got you. And when I look back, I think about like where I was then. I wasn't ready for it. Like I wasn't ready for what I'm doing now. Like there was so much more work that needed to be done. And so that's always been a big part of me saying, I want to help people, not just find their purpose in life, but also connect with source so that they can find it and they can figure the shit out themselves. Because in my session,
Right.
I'm not telling you what the issue is. I'm not like you're getting, I don't know if you told them about, you doing your session, but I wasn't telling you shit.
Oh, I was doing all the talking and couldn't remember nothing afterwards. I was like, wait, who's that
Right,
talking? Wait,
right,
where you on? Who's
right,
that?
right. My job is to help you go in and get the information for you to dive into the subconscious, to go back into those subconscious memories, those repressed memories, help you bring it up. And my guide is to help you maneuver it, explore it, and to help you heal it and move forward in a different way so that you don't have to deal with it in the way you've been dealing with it that's been affecting you negatively. Um, because it happened, you can't change that it happened. I can't make you forget that the shit happened because it happened. But we're going to
Right.
transform, what happened and your memories of what happened, so that in your understanding of it, so that when we move forward now, it doesn't have the power that it has over you, had over you before. Um, so
Main thing that I took away from it, because one thing, just to put y'all in my business, y'all probably heard this before, my senior year of high school was pure shit, and I carried that for like years. Like, why did this happen to me? Why me? This and that. I didn't deserve that. I'm so nice to people. And during that session I was able to get clarity, like, this happened because of this. And basically it was like my great grandmother, they basically said I had to separate you because I was like, I was popular, so I was used to people liking me. Now you go from that to nobody liking you. And I'm like, I did, but I'm still, it's me. Y'all like me. But just realizing that I had to get separated, I guess, to get to this point where I am now, where I'm able to really get in tune to myself and not being such a people face and being a people pleasing, like, hey, I'm the life of the party, turn up. So I was able to take away that too. And that's like one of the biggest whys I ever had. And it's like, once you get it answered, it's like, oh, okay, I guess I have to take that information and move up now. Also, I wanted to ask, you kind of already answered it, but just for people here, who would be the ideal person or someone that would need to go to get hypnosis for a past life regression? Like, what's the ideal person? Would they be like kind of questioning their purpose, why they have certain things happening to them? Like, what would that person look like?
so excuse me, I always talk about anyone who's on a spiritual journey to find themselves, to heal themselves, to break through blockages and align with who they're supposed to be in this life. So if you're trying to figure out what the fuck am I here for? Number one, what's my purpose in this life? Like, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? um, or just somebody who's struggling emotionally with shit that's been going on in your life, whether it be current or shit from the past that you just been brushing under the rug, and it's still showing up, and you know it's hitting you, and you just don't know how to deal with it, how to let go of it, how to release it, how to, you know what I mean, move on from it. Or someone who's just like has so many questions and just can't figure shit out, like, you know, more than, you know, I'll say even going even just above, you know, what my purpose is, but just, or even shadow work, but just anything that has to do with your whole journey in life and traveling that journey and trying to figure out life shit that keeps coming at you. Really, just anyone who needs that connection, who needs that understanding, who needs those answers, that guidance, that clarity, but also ready to heal some shit. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I always say I'm not for everybody. I promise you, I am not for fucking everybody. Because if you come to a session with me, you're gonna do some work. I've had people come up and they're like, okay, we go through something and a memory comes up and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. I'm like, if the shit came up, we deal with it. Yes. So I'm like, okay, you're not ready. No. If it came up, we're gonna deal with it. And a lot of shit that you think you dealt with, that you're like, oh, I don't, no. A lot of that shit still come up. You thought you was done with it, but it came up for a reason. You ain't sitting here crying. Like, I have people literally, before we even get too deep into the session and we're talking at the beginning of the session, they're like bawling down crying. Just at the thought and just us discussing something simple as, tell me about your relationship with your mom. You know what I mean?
I cried. Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo crying.
Oh, not the ugly cry. It was heavy, you know?
Yeah, and that says there's some shit there that needs to be healed. You got to deal with that. And when it comes up, no, trust indeed. When we go into that induction, and then I'm taking you back to a particular memory, and that shit comes up, and you're like, no, I don't want to deal with it. But you're sitting there crying, and you don't want to deal with it. No. We're doing the work. We're not making no excuses. That's what we're here for. Let's not do that. If you can't, like, and I always say, anything that comes up, you're ready to handle it. You can handle it. Don't start thinking that you can't. Don't start, because a lot of people, they talk about, I want to fucking say, I'm so scared. I don't feel like, boo-boo. If it comes up, you can handle it. But when you're ready, you'll know. When you get to a point where you're like, I can't take it no more. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. It's normal to be nervous. Everybody's nervous in the fucking set. Everybody. I was nervous my fucking first time. Like, what the fuck is up? I was nervous. But for me, it was like an addiction of like, oh shit, let me see what else I can heal. Because on the other side of it all, okay, indescribable. On the other side, indescribable. You know what I mean? Like, to go from anxiety, depression to fucking feeling like unstoppable, invincible. That shit is amazing. You know what I'm saying? That's life changing.
One thing that you do, I noticed in the videos, I know we have to, like, so before the session, like, you get to write down questions that you want to ask your spirit guides, stuff you want to see, all that stuff. Right. So you get the information to go in for, but you do a really good job with adding on questions, like for certain parts where, like, my great grandmother was like, I'll tell you, was like, so what exactly are you going to tell her? So, like, what does she need to know? I'm just like, get it out of her. Let me know. Like, you do good follow-up questions, getting the information out. And especially the part where you're like, during a past life regression, you're like, are you like placed anywhere on her body? Like, is that like anywhere? I'm like, yes, let me know. Where is that on my body? Like, I would have never thought of that question. I'm up here typing questions like, why did my senior year happen that way? Does Hypno have anything? It's like, get so much deeper from it. I'm like, yes, you better ask them these questions. So you do a good job with like guiding throughout the process too. I was like, oh, thank God, I would have never thought of that.
Because I know me, like, when I have questions, right? We all know, like, I want to know, like, who, what, when, where, why, how, right?
Right.
So it's still, when you just asking questions like, why did my senior year go that way? I'm gonna be like, okay, so when I get the answer, I want to make sure it's clear to me why I will understand why my senior year went that way, right? So I'm like, okay, so what when you say you had to separate her from everybody. Why was the separation necessary?
How do you have to separate? What happened?
Why?
What was
Yeah.
the goal? I was
Of that. How was that? Like, what was going on at that time? What needed to happen? What were you trying to take her? Like, you know what I mean? So separating her now, where's it going to take her now? What does she need to know about moving forward? You know what I mean? Like, for me, that's what the questions I want to know. So that's what I'm going to ask. I want to make sure you literally walk away with a whole clear cheat sheet of, so you have no doubt in your mind of, okay, yeah, but why? Because, you know, if I just ask that question and you're like, you got the answer, you still might be like, yeah, but why that way? Why? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Why that?
And then like start thinking of other questions you should have
Yeah.
asked, but you
But I'm
because it's
yes.
so where did that come from? You were like, so what was the source of that? I'm like, okay, thank
Yeah. Because again, I know me, I'm gonna want clarity in so many different ways. I want to make sure you get that clarity too. That's important for me, for you to know, for you to feel good of walking away applying, because you literally have a whole fucking cheat sheet when you walk away on what
it
to do
is.
moving forward. I don't want no excuses from you talking about, yeah, but what if I was just making all that up? I'm like, listen.
If you make you need to be an actor, you need to be an improv queen, you need to have your
Right.
Oscar right now. Like, because
Exactly.
who thinks about it? Who got time to sit there and think for like what, almost 2 hours just thinking of responses?
Right. And not because when at the end of the session, when you're starting, and you tell me this, when you're at the beginning of it, it usually doesn't make any sense, and you trying to think, what the hell's going on? But by the end of it,
Right.
it comes around full
Like,
circle. Oh shit! I asked, if you had to make up a past life, would you have made that up? Oh hell no, I wouldn't have made that shit up.
right. I was Beyonce in a past life that she took over my body and Sasha Fierce. Yeah, I would have came up with the whole thing.
Right. Exactly. So it's just a lot of people, they'll say stuff like that because, again, that's that critical analytical mind that wants to not take responsibility for what comes up, so they can keep doing the same shit they've been doing and say, oh, I was making it up, so they can write it off and keep doing what they're doing. But I'm holding your ass accountable. You got the answers you need to do it. Ain't nothing else for you to sit here. No excuses, no nothing. You got everything you need. You know what I mean?
And then afterwards, kind of like, so what do I meditate on now? I'm doing all this healing. I know the answers to stuff. It's like, oh, okay. That's like, it's like all those things you like question, you wonder, what am I supposed to be doing this years from now? What am I supposed to be doing with this? What this is? Am I talking to myself, or was that me that time? Get all the answers, then you're like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta actually heal now and move on from it. But I want to ask you a question just from your end. Like the part where you're like, I'm not sure if like, I'm going to call it like the anesthesia, the sedating part. How do you know someone is like,
sedating part?
Yeah, like something on the ceiling, then like the part where you like try to open your eyes, I was like, it felt like someone's going like this. I'm like, why can't I open my eyes? Like, so how do you know someone is like locked in? Like they're like, all right, we ready to go.
So the induction I do is different for everybody. It depends on, like, spirit usually tell me take her deeper or take him deeper or add this on to it, or like I'll just kind of know intuitively, or spirit will just say, you know, it's whisper in my ear, and from your response I can pretty much tell. This is why, like, you know, when we're doing, I'm like, I gotta be able to see your face, so I can pick up on the energy, I can pick up on what spirit's telling me, and etc. I'll just say it's a gift for me to know what you need, what you don't need, etc. How, because I a few weeks ago I was in a session and I was halfway through the induction I was gonna do with her. Halfway into the induction I was gonna do, and she literally just like, she was already there. She went faster than I expected. And she's crying. I'm just like, okay, let's jump into it. You ready? Let's go. I'm not going to keep on going, because my whole purpose is to get you to where I need you to get, so we can do the work that needs to be done. So she was already there. I didn't even get to finish doing the induction I had planned to do. So it's different for everybody. Just to answer the question, it's different for everybody. I just know it's an intuitive.
So with the session I had, if I were to go in for two? What does usually like round two look like? Because I got all that information before. Now I'm greedy. I'm like, okay, so let's do this again. So like, what would round two look like, or do you suggest a different session?
Hey, repeat that again, because they got somebody doing some work behind me, and the shit is so loud. Why the fuck is it so loud? I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead. What'd you say?
So like with the session I had, after someone gets that, what do you suggest round two be like? What would the next session look like?
That what I thought. Asking something about the sessions, what the sessions look like, because it's hard for me to
Oh,
hear.
you
Maybe I
just
should
a
go
little
inside.
bit.
Um. So if you're
Or
asking
everything.
what the sessions look like, is that what you asked?
Like, so with the session I had, if I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go for round two, like another session, would I get the
Oh,
same
like a
session or
follow
would
up
it be
session.
something?
So yeah, it just depends on what you want to work on. So I have people all the
Mm,
time like, yo, I need a follow up session. I'm like, okay. Sometimes some people have a session once a month. Sometimes they have one every other month. It just depends on what you need to work on. So the initial session, I always encourage everybody to do like the full Monty, like the past life regression, shadow work, spirit guide assistance, to do that whole session, that the big session. Those are the ones that you usually see on my YouTube videos. Um, to do that one first, and then you can follow up with a past life regression session or a shadow work session. Those are where like shadow work is like we want to work on one particular issue moving forward. Now it's like, okay, I already did this session. Now I want to focus on something else, a specific thing in my life right now that's coming up now that I've started doing the work. I need to, okay, now that I know, let's say for example, well, I'm having issues relationship wise. I've done the work. I've let go of this person, that person. Now I want to move forward and see what I need to do next, relationship wise, or maybe heal another aspect of another layer of something I'm feeling that's coming up with my relationships. I'm gonna focus on that, and so then book a shadow work session, which is like an hour and a half. It's not as long as the initial session. Or if they have something they're like, yeah, I keep having these fucking dreams and I'm trying to code it. I don't know what the fuck is going on. They might do a shadow work, or they might do a past life progression session. It just depends on whatever it is that is going on in your life, what your goal is, your purpose is for that session, the follow-up session, and then yeah, we work on that. But yeah, follow-up sessions for sure. But the initial session is always recommended is getting the full Monty, because in that you can get your whole life, and then you can know what you need to do moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, so from our end, let's just say someone's like, okay, I'm ready to get hypnotized. Let's do this past life regression. How do you suggest for them to start preparing before their session? I know you have like a video and everything, but just for someone to be
Yeah.
like, oh Lord, I don't know what's gonna come up. Like, how do you work out those kinks and nerves?
So, like I've always talked about, whatever comes up, you're ready for it. So there's not necessarily any preparation you need to do, but I know that a lot of people are nervous. So I'll just give them things like I talked about, or you mentioned that there's a whole prep video that I send whenever we book a session. It's just sharing with you, breaking down the myths and conceptions about what hypnosis is, because a lot of people think you're asleep when you're in hypnosis, and you're not. I'm like,
You're
if you're
not. It's
sleeping, who the
like
fuck is talking to you the
you
whole time? Right. You're snoring, and I'm just talking to myself like, no, that's not how it goes. So, just kind of breaking up those myths, bringing understanding of what it is, how you might experience hypnosis. And usually that video helps settle everybody like, oh, okay, all right, cool. I think I'm ready. Like, I'm a little nervous, like, like most people are. Shit, I was too. But you now understand what to expect and what you need. So, yeah, there's like a whole prep video that you get sent when you book a session. There's a PDF that I send as well with more information, and again, with some of the frequently asked questions. But I always say start at my website, because there's so much shit on there that you would literally, once you get in there, you're like,
any
oh,
question answered.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so most people, when they book a session, they feel clear, they're ready. It's like, all right, let's go, let's do this. Yeah.
So on your end, you basically having contact with these different energies, different people's spirit guides, or whoever may come up. How do you protect yourself on your end? Because you never know who's gonna pop up and maybe or something, or like.
Yes, because I've had some questionable energy
Right.
show up, right? Especially when you're talking about these spirit attachments. not even so much as like the you know, like the ones that were like maybe ancestors or something like that, but more so like the more darker energies, whether it been like, you know, or darker thought forms. So there's different type of spirit attachments. You know, you got the dark, you know, the thought forms and things of that nature, and you know, what we called people like classify as ghost energies that are hanging around after they died, don't know they did, or you know, even children who were aborted or miscarried, things like that, hanging around, or even shit energies from past lives, whether they might have had an issue with you from then, or they just can't let go, or whatever, you know, they hang around, they attach sometimes. So how I protect myself, first and foremost, I have to give the credit to my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? I have to give the credit to my spirit guides and my guardians, because they're always first and foremost protecting me. You know what I mean? I make sure I honor them. I do my altar work to honor them. But I also, you know, use things like crystals and things like that, protective crystals. I also use, but what I was talking about, you're asking about what I do to protect myself, but what I found to be most powerful is me doing my own work, right? Me doing my work on me, healing myself, keeping my energies high, you know, healing the past shit that I've done, because it continues. It's a journey. It is a journey. I don't care how much shit you heal, you will always have shit that you gotta continue to work on, because there's so many different layers, right? And so it can even be shit from like last week, where you know you had something come up and you holding something hold on to that shit, and you letting that eat you up and carry it with you. You know, there's so much work that needs to be done. So for me, that's been a really big game changer. In addition to everything else I do, just continuing to do the work, working on myself, doing my own shadow work, all of that. Yeah.
Okay, so I told them if they have questions, just to ask them really, really quick. So,
Okay.
Dejuliet said, "How do I connect with my ancestors safely?"
Say that
I'm
again. I
guessing
didn't.
in a hypno. She asks, "How do I connect with my ancestors safely?" I'm guessing during like a session, like how do you, or
Oh,
just in everyday them safely?
outside of a session or in a session, you were asking?
Let's do both. I feel like in a session will be kind of like easy because you're there to guide and interact and stuff. But I guess on a daily
Yeah.
basis, how would you best connecting with ancestors? She
On
said
a
as far
daily,
as
talk about making an altar, or you can just talk to them. Something simple as talking. Some ancestors will tell you like, I want an altar, or I need you, or you know, and others will be like, I don't, just talk to me. You know, I don't really need all of that. You know what I mean? It's really whatever spirit tells you to, whatever you feel led to do. Trust yourself, trust spirit, trust your intuition. When they tell you, speak to you and tell you shit, trust them. Is when you don't trust, that shit starts to happen and go wrong for you. So yeah. I would just say whatever works best for you, because what works for me and what I do may not work for you. Your ancestors might like, nah, I need more. Bitch, I need you to give me some more, burn some more money for me. I need you to do, you know what I'm saying? I need you to do somewhat, whatever. So you gotta trust what they're telling you. Listen, be able, you know, sit and listen. That's the biggest thing.
and it's funny you say that because during my session too, my great grandmother was like, "Yeah, I want to altar with this in the middle. Like,
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead, get to it." Like, all right, well, didn't know that. Okay,
She sure did.
so like, yeah, I would have never known to ever do that, and I just would have been failing you this whole time because it's like, all right, cool, you want that? Okay,
Yeah.
and I know exactly make it look and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yes, the live will be saved. It's going to be posted on YouTube and everything. In the comment section and description, I'm going to tag her. You're going to have her website, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to post some clips because we got a little deep. Some clips of my session over on page. Some of I gotta read. I
I
gotta
know
go
that's
through it. Real.
right.
Oh, so someone said if you're an overthinker, how do you clear your mind during a session?
I help you with that. It's a lot. I used to be an overthinker. I say used to be sometimes.
I'm an overthinker. So that's what during my session. You told me I was like, okay, you ready? Okay. I'm closing my eyes. Like I'm like. So I'm gonna overthink it. You will get relaxed so quick. All that overthink is gonna go out the window. Like as soon as she starts talking, you have the perfect voice for it. As soon as she starts talking, you're like, okay, I got it. You're gonna like just lose control of yourself. It's like it's real good. It's
Yeah.
so it's so and it's peaceful. It's not like a harsh reality where you waking up all emotional, like what just happened. It's like it's a smooth transition too. You wake up. I was operate with my day. It was like okay, we good.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, a lot of people think that, oh, I'm too analytical, and sometimes you do. I have to help them with that because there'll be too much up here. And when you get too much up here, then you're not allowing, like I always talk about. I don't want to talk to that analytical part of you. Like I could talk. I'm talking to that part right now. I don't need to talk to that part. We use
Right.
hypnosis to get past that part so I can access the subconscious mind. So if you're doing that, you're only getting in your way. But sometimes I'll see people doing that, and I have a way of helping them out and helping them. But I can't do it for you. But there's ways that I can do, things that I can do to help you get around that. And so, yeah, sometimes I have clients who are just too freaking analytical. I'm like, and I have to remind them now, help them with it. And once they get through it and they start trusting what's happening, then it's like, oh, okay, no problem at all. So, yeah, but I help you with it.
One thing I'm curious about, you get us in smoothly and then you get us out. Has there ever been a time where like someone didn't want to get out of it?
Mm-mm. No, no.
Oh, girl.
I had people who were just like even more to the degree of you. It was just like they come out and it was like, what just happened? Like, we done? Like, and I'm like, yeah, it's been almost 4 hours or 3 hours.
It does not feel that long. Like afterwards, it's like it probably feel like a good 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Then it's
it
like
really doesn't.
that time.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, look at the clock. It's been 3 hours. Or it's been 3.5 hours. It's been 4 hours. The session's usually is really supposed to be 3 hours, but sometimes it goes longer because other shit might come up, and I'm not gonna cut your session short because the shit is coming up. I want to make sure we get through what we need to get through, and so sometimes it goes longer. But yeah, that is, I never had anybody who doesn't want to come out. They just come out because of the induction. I have to take them out of the induction, and not that they can get stuck in it, because you can't. Because I know a lot of people think, oh, I can get stuck in hypnosis. Like, that's, for example, I've had situations where in the middle of a session, the video goes out and then we lose contact and they can't hear me no more. I'm like, all right, I'll give them a few minutes because they might, especially if they're really, really deep, and I know they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people will be super deep and I don't realize how deep they are. And so
Mm-hmm.
after the session, but especially when I know they are, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give them a few minutes because they're not gonna realize into a few minutes that I'm not there. And what all that simply happens is they realize I stopped talking to them. They don't hear me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few minutes, they just open their eyes and they're like, and they might look at the computer and be like, oh, what happened? And then they're texting me or
Right.
calling me like, hey, and I'm like, I'm just jump back on. We lost connection. I don't know, your internet went out or something. Just jump back on. So it's simple as that. And then we just continue right where we left off at. It's not like the movies that they have you think that you're going into some fucking
Mm-hmm.
get out type of situation. And I'm stirring a cup with damn tea with a spoon, and as soon as I tap the cup, your ass is dropping down through some unknown dark like that.
Do you
But yeah,
or see something
go
live
ahead.
come up, hypnotize you? You be like, ciao.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of
So
misconceptions
just
about that.
So just to summarize it for the people who just came in and for the people that's going to be on YouTube, what all type of sessions and services do you have? So we know hypnosis for past life regression, hypnosis for shadow work. Do you offer like one-on-one counseling, or what else do you have?
Some would say that is counseling because you're
Oh
literally
yeah,
getting, like, you're bringing all your issues.
counseling.
We're helping you resolve them. Yeah, we're helping you find the root of it. We're helping you work through it. That when I talk about in so many different ways, not just emotionally, helping you resolve issues emotionally, but a lot of things too, physically. I've had clients not just come and leave, like, been on depression medications and stuff like that, and after the session, they're off of meds and don't need it no more, or anxiety or whatever. And then also having issues of like pain situations, that pain that might have been connected to something else that we dealt with in the session. And now that we dealt with that, the fucking pain is gone. And I'm talking about it, whether it be ringing in the ears, would be migraines, could be pain in a particular part of the body, the arm, leg, head, neck, whatever.
Mm.
Like, I had sessions with therapists, like mental health therapists, and one particular who was having an issue, I think a pain in her neck of some sort. She couldn't figure it out. Doctors didn't know what it was. For the root cause was emotions and shit that she was holding on to, things that was happening. I can't remember if it was from a past life or from this life, what the cause was, but when we worked through that shit, that pain was gone, like done. And she was just like, the fuck? She's like, I need to start implementing this shit in my work. So, yes.
Power of the and be able like the hit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like literally feel the difference.
Yeah, and it's just like, I remember having one client, like, what kind of fucking witchcraft are you doing over there? How the fuck did this pain go on so quickly? Like, what did you do? And I'm like, baby, it was all you could. If you didn't want to, I couldn't. There's nothing I could do to make you. Like, you have to want to release it. I can't make you do it. So I'm just simply showing you how and helping you do it, guiding you to do it.
Right.
Do it, showing you this is what you need to do to get rid of. Are you ready to let go of it? Okay, boom. This is what I need you to do right now. And when you do it, okay, how do you feel now? Oh my God, so much better. Okay. But I didn't do it. You did. Or Spirit might have came in to help. Like, I might have asked Spirit to come and can you help her release that? And Spirit go in, they do their job. All right, it's done. But
what a gift to have.
You understand?
That's such a blessing to have that gift.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it's them, but you doing the guiding without you bringing the person there. That's an amazing gift.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for it because it's been life-changing for me too, even on, for my whole healing journey. Because each session I do with every of my clients, I'm getting something out of that shit. Like, I'm taking lessons or I'm getting healing or I'm like, shit, I remember going through that. And I might have been feeling that way recently. And I was like, oh, fuck, oh shit, okay, so I can let that go because I was feeling that way too. Or I was going through this and I thought that this was, and Spirit be talking to me too, shit, through day. So, I'm getting my healing too while y'all getting y'all. Best believe.
I know that, like, taking notes. She said use this. Her grandmama said use that.
Yeah.
What I would be doing the same. Like, especially when I was watching your YouTube, I'm like, she said go to dark closet. I think she's speaking to me too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I won't hold you too long. We're already over time. I said it's gonna be 20 to 30 minutes. No, I be talking. But thank you so much. Thank you for having a session with me. Thank you for helping me and healing me. I've been just like operated so differently afterwards. Like, once you know the answers and you really legit don't even have an excuse for the excuses, like, all right, move on with yourself. Like, get yourself together. Nice to hear from my brother, Yamaya, from my great grandmother, from Shango. Like, it's like you don't know who's gonna pop up, seeing yourself in your past life. Also, one last thing to add on to that. So, y'all, I hate the taste of alcohol. I absolutely think alcohol is the most disgusting thing in the world. Like, granted, it's like, ooh, a vibe, but I'm like, who likes this stuff? And then it's like, in a past life, I was an alcoholic. I'm like, well, maybe that's why I don't like the taste of alcohol, because I'll be like, have like an addictive personality to it or something. Like, it's like those little tokens. But y'all, this session, I'll add some clips. I'll add some clips into this interview, parts I feel comfortable with.
Oh, that's fine.
But,
whatever you want to, Trigger. What else on you? I'm not trying to listen.
You're on page 2, right?
Huh?
And you're gonna have some on your page too, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want me to share, I can share. Just whatever you share, I'll share. I'll do it that way because I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. And so, like, if you guys need any clarity, any self-work, I know y'all need it. We all need it. I just got one. I'm gonna be like, I need to plan another session. Make sure you guys try it. It's such a wonderful experience. I was nervous at first when you reached out. It took me a long time to reply back because I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna come up in here? And I don't know about that. But I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did. You just feel like you're like vibrating a little bit higher and everything seems a little bit clearer. And you feel lighter afterwards. I don't know if anybody ever said it. You genuinely feel like,
most definitely.
I don't wait while I'm up there. Like, you just feel lighter, you feel like you could breathe clearer, it's like a burden has been lifted. So I'll have all of her information in the comments, like in the description of this video over on YouTube. I'll insert some clips over there, and make sure y'all book y'all session, because it's needed. Even when you get it, it's still needed, because there's always something more to work on, and just continuously being able to heal and have that cheat sheet.
Right.
It's like, what y'all on, child? I got hypnosis. I already know the answer.
Right.
But it's just a experience. But thank you so much for joining me and staying.
Thank you.
But this won't be live, because now I got a whole bunch of other questions. But thank you for joining. Thank y'all for coming in. I will save this live. Y'all be safe out there. Let me do my outro. And like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as universe, so the soul. Until next time, you guys, Ashe, baby. Make sure you follow her. I'll have everything. Her comment is pinned. Make sure you follow and just stay connected. Follow even if you're not ready yet, because you never know. One day you may wake up ready. All right, I'm done talking. All right, bye, y'all. Y'all be safe.
They